They're not in here. I know that Beats aren't necessarily the most pro headphones. They're more the consumer headphones, but that means it's worth testing on them because consumers will listen with that kind of thing.
And hello, Henning Pauli here. Today we're talking about mixing on the go, on the quiet, in the quiet. So we all know the problem, mixing with headphones. We all had to do it, and we've always been told, don't do it. It's a lot more fun to do this. Some good speakers, crank that shit up. Have some other speakers there, go back and forth. Here I've got the KSDs. In all the other studios, I actually have IK, Precision, MTMs, whatever. I mean, great speakers. Crank that shit up, be in the music and the moment. That's the way to do it. But sometimes you can't. Can't do that in a crunch when you're on a train, on a plane, on a wagon, on a whatever. You can't do that when you've got neighbors. I'm in the lucky position where I have houses with studios in them that are mine. And the neighbors is my brother. He was also loud, so shut up. Pretty much most of us can't do it. So sometimes we gotta mix with headphones. Where's the issue? Where's the problem with headphones? Now, if we were only to mix for people listening with earbuds and headphones, that wouldn't be the biggest problem, other than that these are not necessarily calibrated. What does calibrated mean? Well, we want it as flat as possible so we know how things translate, right? And in here, I have actually calibrated those speakers with the Sonarworks suite, and I know they do sound correct. How do you do that with headphones? Well, there is some software that could do that, right? Running it through software. I know that companies like Lewitt have that. There are actual headphones that you have to buy from Slate, where you are in mixing environments, but you have to have those Slate headphones. And that really only solves the flatness calibration issue. Now, if you have IK multimedia speakers, a lot of them come with a measurement microphone, and they come actually with software so that you can calibrate the speakers to your room, and then it's saved in the speakers and they sound correctly in the position where they're in. If you don't have IK multimedia speakers, there are other solutions, or you stick with IK multimedia and you get the ARC Studio, which is then a piece of hardware that connects to their software and the measurement microphone, and you just run your speakers through them, and then the hardware in here will do the calibration for you. Now, that's fine with the speakers, but wouldn't it be nice to have that for headphones? Another issue with headphones, the left side goes into my left ear, the right side goes into my right ear. You can say, duh, but speakers don't. The left speaker goes kind of around my head into that ear, and goes off that wall into my ear, and it goes off the ceiling into my ear. It doesn't just go into my left ear. The left speaker goes into my right ear quite a bit. Same for the right speaker into the left ear. You get the idea of the ear. Headphones don't do that. It is too isolated. So when mixing, that's a problem, because you are mixing it way too isolated. Again, if you were mixing only for people using headphones, that would be fine. It doesn't take the room into account. And wouldn't it be nice to have some of those reference speakers that we all know and hate, like the Yamaha NS10, for example, or listening with what people actually listen with, which is like, Bluetooth speakers and phones and stuff like this, having some of those reference things. Now, again, some companies make this in software, not a problem whatsoever, but having it wherever you go without dragging the software with you on any computer, wouldn't that be cool? IK Multimedia ARC On EAR comes in a carrying case. That's neat. Very nice quality doohickey. Looks like so. It's got an on-off switch, USB-C input, and analog input. So you don't actually need analog. You can run this USB-C to your Mac, to your computer, and simply straight just pump music into this. This is your audio interface. Done. You're on a plane, you want to mix? You can. USB-C to your MacBook, bam, headphones in here, done. Headphone preamp is also an issue. Having a good headphone preamp. Having a good headphone preamp that talks to your headphones the way they're supposed to be talked to with the right impedance. What's the right impedance? Well, would be good if they knew the headphone manufacturer. They do. And then it's actually the correct impedance with a nice high quality headphone preamp. So headphone preamp, calibration to the headphones, meaning making them as flat as possible. Simulating the room so that the right speaker also goes in the left ear. And simulating some of the most common speakers so you have points of reference. All software guided, but once you're done and you set it up, there are 5 presets. You can take this, turn it on, it's battery powered or bus powered. If you're running it analog, just run it off the internal battery. And you're done. Plug in the headphones here. This is so small that's not going to be in the way. And you can turn on and off the calibration, on and off the studio, and you can actually switch the 5 presets here, as you can see. Very simple. There's also a dim function, a mono function, all that. In the box is also a USB-C cable and an analog cable, including an adapter. So you could plug this into your audio interface. Is this going to drastically make everything sound better? No, that's not the idea. The idea isn't turn it on, go like, oh my God, that's the best sound in the world. It's supposed to get your mixes to translate ridiculously better when you're mixing with headphones. Your headphones. Not some headphones from Slate that are specifically made for this purpose, which are probably good. This by itself, once you put your presets in there with your headphones and everything that you want, you can put anywhere, turn it on, plug your headphones in, put it on your DAW on your laptop, whatever. I just put it on the computer, super easy. It turns your headphones, as long as they're in the list, into the mixing environment that actually gets you usable results when working quietly for your neighbors. So let's go in and check it out. Then we also will go through a whole bunch of headphones, and I got something to say about that when we're done. Make sure that for the whole next section, because it's recorded with a binaural microphone, you are using headphones. It's very, very, very important. Use the headphones that you have, or earbuds, but it has to be something that is on both of your ears. That is the way that the microphone works. You will not hear what you're supposed to hear if you're listening on the toilet, which is probably where you are, on your phone or tablet or TV. It has to be headphones. Please stop the video now, grab some headphones, and then you get a better representation of what's happening. Are you hearing the way that the headphones that I'm using actually sound? No. Because there's still a microphone in between it. And converters and your headphones, which are putting their sound on it. What you will hear is what changes. You will hear that all of a sudden there's more bass or less bass on those headphones. And I turn the calibration on, you can hear, okay, something changes or not, right? You will hear that. To get into the full awesomeness of ARC On Ear, you will have to actually get it and plug in your own headphones. And check in the list before you buy if your headphones are already included. They're working on a very, very extensive list. Here we go.
Hello. You can now hear me through the fake ears. Some kind of ASMR bullshit. So I will put as a reference now to show you the software, the Sennheiser HD 490 Pros on there, and then later we're going to go through a bunch of headphones that I have that are hopefully in there. We'll find out, but for now it's the HD 490 Pro. So first, you can still hear me because those are open. We will turn all this stuff off, and studio simulation and calibration I could actually also turn off here. If I wanted to have the virtual speaker, I can assign it to the FN button, which is also on it, so I can actually do all these things right here on the actual ARC I can also assign dim to it, mute, and so on. So, all that stuff you can read. So the calibration you can tune a little bit. This is the calibration, as far as I understand, to the headphone model. The studio simulation is putting a little bit of the right into the left ear, putting a little bit of the left into the right ear, which makes sense, and you can define the width of technically where you would be sitting. And here are your fake speakers, which are now see-through, but you turn them on and they become non-see-through, and then you can go to speakers and you have a wide variety, including a Bluetooth speaker, telephone, and TV, and some hi-fi speakers as well. So you got all the usual suspects, and here you pick your headphone, and that is a lot of different headphones. And for now, look at all the different headphones. That's a lot, even 7 T-bones. Apparently, big thanks to Thomann for supplying IK with a lot of different headphones to measure. They were instrumental in making that happen, apparently. So we can see that the 490. Sorry that my voice sounds weird, but it's going through the headphones. 130 ohms. So that means the ARC is actually applying some correct ohmage to the headphone preamp. So we'll turn this stuff off for now, and I will play and record through the ears into an H6 recorder. A little bit of this track over here. So you have to realize the most drastic is the calibration, because it tunes or flattens the response of your headphones. The studio simulation is rather subtle. I think it's important to make you feel like you're in the room, but it is a more subtle thing. And the virtual speakers, again, also subtle. So let's switch around some virtual speakers here. Well, obviously, when we switch to the NS10s, all the bottom drops out. That's a good reference point to use. Those are, well, they're not the NS10s, they're the modern Yamahas, but I think. So let's go to the NS10s. The trick is obviously there is very low end or no low end, so you want to make sure that all your low end instruments, bass and kick, are still very audible. And then we can go to this stuff, and of course when you do this, the visuals change to that as well. Again, sorry, my voice audio, you're hearing me through the headphones. So those are neat little things you can do, and you can actually put them on the presets. And if you hold down Fn and hit Cal on the ARC, even without the software, you can go through your presets. So you can always know, there's little 5 little lights on the side. You can know that on preset 5 you got your cell phone and NS10's on 4 or whatever. And if you're using different headphones, you can even assign them. You got 5 different presets. You can see if I switch here. Again, I switch this on and off, and then we go to different headphones. And you can change the look up here from space to a frequency response. So the blue is what the Sennheiser sound like, and the post is what is being applied, and then hopefully we have a relatively flat response. And of course you can actually tweak all of that if you wanted to. Now we'll go through different sets of headphones and see how close we can get them with the calibration software. Well, since I have these on, no, actually, I will leave those till the end because I need to hear what you're hearing.
And I keep the flame inside. Whisper cold, bound inside the waves. We find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us inside the waves. Never bound inside the waves. We find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us inside the waves is where we're free. Inside the waves, we find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us inside the waves. We find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us bound inside the waves. We find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us inside the waves.
I know the Philips have a lot of top end. They're not in here, but I know they have a lot of top end, so I just pulled it down a bit. These are older headphones as well. Okay, this is a bit weird. I got a lot of headphones and they're not in here. I know that Beats aren't necessarily the most pro headphones. They're more the consumer headphones, but that means it's worth testing on them because consumers will listen with that kind of thing. But Beats does not appear in here.
Bound inside the waves. We find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us inside the waves is where we're free.
Again, another set of consumer headphones, which are Bluetooth, but they have a pluggy, so let's find out. No Marshall. I mean, I have a lot of headphones and half of them are not in here. I know it's a pro thing, but still, you have to have consumer shit in there. So again, what do? I don't know. I'm gonna go with these, which makes no sense, but we'll play it anyway, without the calibration. But the whole idea is that the ohmage is adjusted and all that stuff, right? So it wouldn't be if they're not in there. Oh, those sound different.
We rise together. Bound inside the waves. We find our voice. We
calibration does quite a lot here and does improve those headphones by a lot.
Bound inside the waves, we find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us. Inside the waves, we find our voice. We break the chains. We make a choice. No one can tell us. Inside the wave is free.
So this is really all that you can see in here. I really tried my best to convey what this can do. Disclaimer, I was a bit disappointed that some of the headphones I had aren't in there, especially there were 4 of them weren't in there. 2 of them, the Sennheiser and the Philips, are older models, which likely they couldn't get their hands on. They could get their hands on what is now available, understandably. The Beats and the Marshall are consumer headphones for just enjoying music. They're not for professional studio work, which is what this is meant to do. Still, I think Beats and Marshall should be companies that are included in the list because they're pretty popular headphones. I understand that right now they're not in it. This is before launch, and give it some time. That list is going to grow and be as complete as possible. So I included them there. You could turn the calibration off, tailor the EQ curve to what you think is more flat, and still enjoy the speaker simulation and the room simulation until your headphones are in there. But of course, most of the common studio headphones are obviously in there already. More to come. I love this whole package. I love the quality of this, the simplicity. It's got rubber at the bottom. It's just a great piece of hardware in a nice little case with the cables. Having this in your mix bag, having this in your laptop bag, absolutely recommended. I don't know how much it is right now, $250, $350, anything like this. If you want to be able to deliver translatable mixes on the go or in the studio where you have to be quiet, this is an indispensable. That's the word. An indispensable tool. Get yourself ARC on Ear. IK Multimedia always impresses with what they do. They really thought about everything here, and it's small, she said, and awesome. Links below, and we put animals at the end as always.
To last, this too shall pass. Now you're left without a thing, but once you're freed from all possessions, you're feeling richer than a king. Feel you found the right direction, and when all the stars align, better take that as a sign. Remember, nothing's built to last. This too shall pass. There ain't no summer without rain. There ain't no fall without the gain.